Hey guys, good morning. Peter here with Forte Trader. It's January 5th. Wanted to make a quick midday video here, post this up because I may have to be gone for the rest of the day and have some personal things I have to take care of. But I wanted to get into some of the trades today. Volume started a little bit light, but with a good uptrend and huge sell off because crude oil news got pushed into today because, let me show you why. Where'd we go? Remember, whenever we have a holiday, crude oil, it normally is reported every Wednesday of the week, but it gets pushed a day into like a one business day over if there's a holiday week. So it did the same thing with Christmas week, and same thing here with the New Year's holiday weekend where Monday was observed. Holiday for a lot of companies, banks, and for the market. So that got pushed. That was kind of like my biggest fear of trading today, especially trying to come back from some losing trades I've had. I've been, now trading with a couple of people and try to change my patterns and try to come up with codes and ways and automated stuff that thought might be pretty aggressive and rewarding for everyone really quickly. That backfired. It didn't really work too good. So lost some time there, which is money, and then also in the process just made some plays that was kind of stupid, and I shouldn't have been doing it. It's real money, it's hard-earned money, so definitely want to slow down and get back into the basics. Price action, it's what it always has been and will be. We can use indicators to gauge and get an idea of stuff. At the end of the day, my mentor, I just had a big talk with him yesterday, and it's the same thing it comes down to is that he tells me is just how to keep things simple. If you can't do price action trading, then just don't even trade at all. There's not going to be any other special indicator that's going to help us speed up the process on being profitable. While I'm doing this video, I'm going to try to place another order in here for a buy off this channel. It looks like it's going back up trend from, again, this huge oil sell-off. Again, with this news, I just don't know why it does the things that it does. It just sometimes goes opposite to the news, and that's why in one of my trading videos, I talk about trading the news means actually not being in it, right? To see where the market's going to go and how it's going to react. It's all that human emotion, and then let it, retrace itself back to where it's trying to go. But build your patterns, build your channels, and see if you can come up with a solid line with a couple of swings that touch it, and then, pretty much that's your rule. And just go from there. I had a student yesterday that her second, third day building price channels, and she's doing really, really good. She keeps things simple, and she's very smart. So I'm going to go through, let's see, a couple of things here. First thing in the morning, though, after we drew our range from the overnight range, we saw a slight uptrend with a little bit of volume here, so we felt pretty good about it. And I took a trade in here for like a 4-tick scalp. Reason we kept it up at 4 ticks only was because right up in here we had a lot of support. So I figured, well, there's no reason to really go in for the whole 2 points, because at this point, if we hit this barrier here, I'm not going to be able to really have any opportunity to get anything. So rather than that, turned it into more like an advanced play and went in for the full, just like a full point right there. And then as you see, this whole sell-off happened and occurred. And what happened here was just oil news, guys. Inventory report came in really, really tight. This should normally make oil itself, and we're trading the ES, but this should normally make oil itself really escalate, right? The price of it. So then supply and demand, if it's tighter, the pricing will get better, and the economy is supposed to increase, but it went the other way and hit some bottom support levels here from some prior days. With me just real sketchy about it, especially, like I said, I'll admit, the last couple of days not being so profitable the way I wanted to. Just trying to be a good example and leader to my team too, so I don't want to disappoint anyone, and of course myself ultimately want to be not taking these dumb risks, and in these news days you just don't know. So I'm up in here trying to scalp another 4 points while we speak. But we are slowly scaling our account back up. Our performance up for today is up 2 points. Somewhere, some point, I made a little mistake on, I think, this first order and the way I placed it. Man, it cost me $12.50. So, but we're up for the day overall. I'm gonna try to see if I can get in this next 4 points up this channel line here, get another like $50 for the day, and just shut it on down. Real quickly too, a little side note about people ask me about penny stocks in my journey through trading. I did do that for a little while. I'm not into that. I trade futures. I like using leverage. I like using risk management to try to reap some decent rewards for the day using the right rules. But on the other hand, I had a small account back in like September or so. I had a little IRA account that I was building with an auto group back when I was in the car business that I had cashed out and left like a couple $100 in there. And it was just sitting in there. And sometime in September of 2017, I was asked by a friend actually, not even anybody else in the business, to try to like play around with penny stock with it and do something. It's just sitting there. And so I started and I took a few trades, and I wanted to show you guys that, with that, I don't want to steer you away to the different direction of trading and into different instruments and stuff. But, just to kind of prove that some people bring up the issue to me on the topic of that trading doesn't work, and trading, yes, it has its high risks, it has its emotions, but there's this theory that's been passed around, and this rule that, trading only makes you, put it in the long term and make your 2% and stuff like that. If you don't have the emotion to do this stuff, then you just don't do it. But, the few people I have around me right now that are trading, they believe in it. And I like how they stay strong, and, they keep me strong too when I need to be pushed back up sometimes. And they don't let that kind of talk get to them that, the old theory that like, put your money with like a securities agent and let it grow, let it grow in equivalence to like inflation is my answer, right? So I don't really believe in those kind of things. I built this little account. I can show you, where is it at? And this stock is just going still. It's still soaring. So I bought this penny stock here at 138, and this Fidelity account. Right, so this was like this flat line here of $200 was this account. It was just sitting for like over a year plus. It was a group I worked with, like I said, and it was an IRA I cashed. Used the money to do a couple things on the house that we own here in Texas, and so it was around September where I was asked by somebody to get in, and I got in on probably did about 3 trades. One trade alone I think pumped up pretty well that I even like forgot about to monitor this for a while until like one day I woke up and was emailed by this company, this brokerage account, to check my balance, and I forgot about it. And upon checking it, I found that it was in a sell-off, and it was actually selling off because it was a penny stock pump and dump, and it was being shorted, and so there was cover going on by traders. So I pretty much sold that, and I took a couple of dips. There was another dip I took because of a second trade I took on a company where I just cut a loss. It just seemed like I got in on a pump a little too late, and I went in on a long side of it, and I didn't want to lose, so I shorted on that, cut my losses, and then took a third trade in December, right when our president-elect Donald Trump tweeted something about uranium. And I said, well, let me go ahead and just use this penny stock and buy like the cheapest uranium company. URRE is the ticker. That specific company actually like been around since the 70s, and at some point like their stock was up like about $1,500 a share. And I'll beat myself in the head in a couple of years when I see that go up again like that. But that's not the point of holding the stocks for a long time. My point is to try to flip these stocks and make 10+% on them. I've made 500% on a penny stock, and in this last one, I think we just did about 30+%, almost 15% a day for the last 2 days in a row. And there's our year to date. Obviously, on one stock, it's going to show this straight bolt up line, but this is for the whole last year. When I started here in September, we took a couple $100 up into upwards of $1,000 at one point, and now we're up about $700. So that's the stock right there. And is there a chance that this thing can be soar a little bit more? It can, but we took our 25-30% and we're out, and we made money. And just do the math. I mean, 47 cents a share. I mean, guys, 47 cents a share. I only bought 300 shares, $100 something just sitting there. Imagine if you did this with imagine if you did this with maybe like a 6-7 times my account. And we just made another point there, by the way, as I'm making this video. That's our live trade account right there, another 4 ticks. But my point is sorry guys, I'm a little beat up from yesterday. Just trying to keep things real. You could have made $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 had you put, if you had $5,000 in that IRA. But you gotta, you don't just go buy like just blind. You do your diligence, and this is what I've been doing for a couple of years. You do a little bit of diligence, and we followed that one off a tweet. And Trump is a pretty serious guy. He's not well liked by a lot of people. I get all that crap, but the thing is that the guy tweets something, and usually some of these big figures, man, they have enough power to make stuff move. And so we went ahead and we went in for the kill. We bought it and hung on and made some money. Could have made more if we bought more. We use rules when we're trading, like we just used right now. This is just, general rules. And that's what I love about trading. And I just wanted to confess that to you guys. This stuff means a lot to me. It means a lot to the growth of my company, and I'm not going to bullshit around. This is the real deal, It's about 12 o'clock Central Time here in beautiful Texas. I'm gonna head out for the day. Just wanted to give you guys this, and whoever watches it, please, if you can, do me a favor, subscribe and like our channel. My mentor, he told me like he doesn't blow himself up because as a trader, you just want to be a trader. You don't really have to get all up in this like mix, but I just want to build this school to make other people better too. It's not really for the money. I mean, at some point we have to charge to cover some of our expenses and stuff, but end of the day, it's about growth, and when we all get together, we can all help each other grow as well. But there's a nice little fade play occurring right there on this channel. I don't like to fade a lot. There's guys that are pretty tough about fading, pretty strong about it, but I don't like fading, which is basically another word for counter trend trading on little trends. And on a general day, we just broke over this range here, guys, and went down because of the oil news and hit supports where, of course, people that were tweeting and all this stuff knew that was going to happen. And it's just making its way back up, but the overall trend is kind of going back up here, right? So it just takes long. It's a longer fight when you're trading against the trend. It's a longer battle. It's harder to hit a target. You saw how we hit 1 point just while I was on the this video with you. So that's about it, guys. It's all about that stuff. I really respect. I'm thankful for my mentor. The cheapest mentor I could ever afford, and he's the most realist guy. And unfortunately, I can't say his name. I just don't want to. If he's maybe even watching this, in the future, if I can get permission to do that, I will. But I'm not gonna do that yet. I don't have his permission to do so, and So, but I gotta appreciate the guy a lot. He's taught me a lot, kept me in line, and this is what I want to give back to people under me and my team. Price action trading, you can't go wrong. It beats any kind of other guessing. Okay, so keeping that one real. I'm glad I took this out. Hell, if, like I said, in a couple of years, if the thing went up to $500, $800, it almost has a history of hitting $1,500 every 10 years, and that 10 years looks like it's going to come up again in about 2 years. And so it is what it is. I'm hoping that maybe by then I'd make my couple of mil before that, not have to beat myself up in the head that this company here has flourished. Good for them if they do. But fortetrader.com, trading price action, not magic indicators. I'm about to head out. Love you guys. Bye.